Good morning. Welcome to Morning Glory. My name is Dr. Victor S.L. Tan, and this morning, as you're preparing to work, I'd like to share with you a topic called the power of presentation. Now, this is a very relevant topic for many people who are working. Too often, you'll notice that people make their presentations and speeches in a very routine and often boring ways. The idea is that many people go about their speaking engagement, presentation in a very normal way, and at best, they put people to sleep. So this morning, I have a very unique way and also very proven way to share with you how you can present in an interesting fashion. In this respect, I believe I have some credibility. Having trained 400,000 individuals in organizations ranging from over 350 Asian organizations, I like to get into the insights of an effective presentation. From my experience, that's a better way to present ideas and get the message across in an interesting fashion. Now, I call this the 7S approach. Every tool starts with the letter S. Now, the first S I'd like to share with you is called stories. For example, in one of my programs called Managing Change, I use a powerful story called the story of the Titanic, the sinking of the Titanic. There I share that the Titanic was the largest ship ever built by man then. It weighs 46,000 tons. It's got 14 watertight compartments, 2 double bottom, and carried up to 2,350 passengers. But the sad part is that on 14 April 1912, out there in the icy cold Atlantic Ocean, the Titanic crashed into an iceberg and sank, along with 1,513 passengers. Then in this story, I share the lessons and the mistakes that are committed by the Titanic. And there were 5 mistakes that we can learn from. The first mistake is belief in invincibility. So because people believe the ship was so huge, so big, that it's invincible. And same thing, we can draw a parallel between the sinking of Titanic and the fall of companies after the Asian financial crisis. Many of them believed they were invincible. At one point, they were doing very well. They were managing change very well. They focused a lot on growth and so on, but they forgot about customers, about sustaining, and they take too many risks. They thought they were invincible. And the second mistake of the Titanic that we can learn from the story is they underrate threats in the environment. It was found in court later that Titanic did not carry enough lifeboats for everyone, even though it has the capability to carry enough lifeboats for every passengers. And so a same parallel is drawn from this story about a lot of companies do not take the threat seriously of competition, of customer complaints, of service level dropping, of morale of staff dropping. All these are important threats that should be taken seriously. And the mistake number 3 of the Titanic, the story that I shared, is not heeding warning signals. In the story of Titanic, there's this part about a message was sent from the land given to the captain, and he says, the Titanic is heading towards an ice field. Slow down and change direction. Instead, the captain gives a totally different direction and says, full steam ahead. We shall reach our destination on time, against the signal. In the story of the Asian financial crisis, in the aftermath of the Asian financial crisis, we found out a lot of companies have not heeded the signals, the drop in market share, the risk of over-diversifying, the falling market share. All these are important signals that are being ignored at the peril of those companies. And mistake number 4, the lack of contingency. It was found that the Titanic did not have the contingency. They did not prepare for that kind of outcome, the sinking of the Titanic. So there were pandemonium that breaks out. In the story of Titanic, people panic. They do not know where the direction of the exit is. But had there been more drill and practice, people could get out of that ship alive. In the same parallel we can draw from the story of the Titanic, mistake number 4, is that in organization they have no contingency. They focus on one product. They focus on one service. They focus on one market. When that market or that service no longer wanted or demanded, the company collapsed. And finally, the mistake number 5 of the Titanic that we can learn from the story is doing too little too late. In that story, the captain only uncovered the lifeboats 15 minutes after he knew the boat was sinking. The ship was sinking. Now, had prompt action been taken, more lives could have been saved. Maybe not all lives. Likely, maybe more things could have been saved for companies before the Asian financial crisis. Had they taken speedy action, prompt action, maybe not everything can be saved, but the company could have been in firmer grounds if they have taken those actions. So a story like this is useful to depict the need to change.